Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Roger Williams National Memorial and to the Rhode Island Shakespeare Theater's production of King Henry IV, Part 1. My name's John McNiven, one of the Rangers here at the Roger Williams National Memorial. Now, I'm not going to give you a long, boring history lecture. If you want one of them, you can come to the Visitor Center 7 days a week. I'm not going to bore you or talk over that. I'm not going to bore you with a long history lesson. If you want one of them, you can come to the Visitor Center 7 days a week from 9 to 5. But you do have to know where you are. But you do need to know where you are. Roger Williams founded Providence right here in 1636. He was tossed out of Massachusetts for having new and dangerous opinions. What were those opinions? Well, basically, that the government had the right to control what you did, but not what you thought and not what you believed. This place was established with sole freedom, liberty of conscience, separation of church and state. It all started right where you are right now. That's what's important about this place. Now it's my honor to introduce to you the artistic director of the Rhode Island Shakespeare Theater, Mr. Bob Colonna.
Good evening. Thank you all for coming. Just a few housekeeping notes. First of all, I want to say how grateful the Rhode Island Shakespeare Theater is to the Roger Williams National Memorial. This is the 4th summer in a row that they have hosted us here. It's been a happy relationship, and we're going to fix that now. Let's see. A few housekeeping things. There will be one 10-minute intermission, during which time there are restrooms in that building. Go up to the sidewalk and to the front door. You'll be able to do that. Please turn off your cell phones now, and please do not text during the show. Why? Because the actors can see you, and it breaks their hearts. Okay, so don't. Okay. Let's see. The emergency exits are there. For those of you who read the journal and thought you were going to see Romeo and Juliet, we have no control over that. Very sorry about that. But let's see. There's one other thing I need to tell you, but I don't know what it is. So anyway, just welcome. Thanks for. Oh yes. This is as loud as we get. Okay. Some of us are not this loud. So if you have trouble hearing, get closer. So can you hear us well over there? Can you hear us very well? Yeah. Okay. All right. What? You can't hear it? You can't hear it? You can't hear it. All right. Too bad. I had a good joke. All right. Anyway, thanks for coming. Enjoy the show!
Ladies and gentlemen, His Royal Majesty, King Henry IV. So shaken as we are, so won with care, find we a time for fighting peace! No more the thirsty entrance of this soil shall daub her lips in her own children's blood. The edge of war, like an ill-sheathed knife, no more shall cut his master. Then let me hear of you, my gentle cousin Westmoreland.
My lady, but yesternight there came a post from Wales, loaded with heavy news, whose worst was that the noble Mortimer, leading the men of Herefordshire to fight against the irregular and wild Glendower, was by the rude hands of that Welshman taken, 1,000 of his people butchered, upon whose corpses there was such misuse, such beastly, shameless transformation by those Welshwomen done as may not be without much shame or told or spoken of. Far more, uneven and unwelcome news came from the north, and thus it did import. On Holyrood Day, the gallant Hotspur there, young Harry Percy, and brave Douglas, that ever valiant and approved Scot at Holden met, where they did spend a sad and bloody hour.
Here is a dear true industrious friend, Sir Walter Blood, and he hath brought us smooth and welcome news. The Earl of Douglas is discomfited! 10,000 noble Scots, 22 knights, balked in their own blood, did he see on Holden's plains. Hotspur took his prisoner, Mordake, the Earl of Fife, and out his son to beaten Douglas, and the Earl of
faith, it is a conquest for a prince to boast of.
Yea, thou there makest me sad and makest me sin in envy, that my lady Northumberland should be the mother to so blessed a son, whilst I, by looking on the praise of him, see only riot and dishonor stain the brow of my young Harry. Oh, that it could be proved that some night-tripping fairy had exchanged. Oh, that it could be proved that some night-tripping fairy had exchanged in cradle clothes our children where they lay, calling hers Plantagenet and mine Percy. Then she would have my Harry and I hers. But let him from my thoughts. What think you, cuz, of this young Hotspur's pride? The prisoners with he and his adventure hath surprised. He keeps to his own use, and he tells me I have none.
This is his cousin's teaching. This is Worcester. Malevolent to you in all aspects. Malevolent to you in all aspects. She makes him prune himself and bristle up the crest of youth against your dignity.
Yes, I have sent for him to answer this, and we will need to have you come to us speedily again, for there is more is to be said and to be done than out of anger can be uttered.
I will, my liege.
Now, what time of day is it?
Thou art so fat, Richard. Drinking of old sack and unbuttoning thee after supper and sleeping upon benches afternoon, that thou hast forgotten to demand that truly, as thou wouldst truly know. What a devil hast thou to do with the time of the day? Unless hours were cups of sack, and minutes capons, and clocks the tongues of lords, and dials the signs of leaping houses. And the blessed sun himself, a fair hot wench in flame-colored taffeta, I see no reason why thou shouldst be so superfluous to demand the time of the day.
Indeed. You come near me now, Hal. For we that take purses go by the moon and the 7 stars, and not by Phoebus, he that wandering night so fair. But I prithee, sweet lad, when thou art king, as God save thy grace, majesty, I should say, for grace thou wilt have none.
What, none?
No, by my troth, not so much as will serve as prologue to an egged vine.
Well, how then? Come, roundly. Roundly.
Marry then, sweet wag. When thou art king, let not us that are squires of the night's body be called thieves of the day's beauty. Of the day's beauty. Let us be Diana's foresters. Gentlemen of the shade. Minions of the moon. And let men say that we be men of good government, being governed as the sea is by our noble and chaste mistress the moon, under whose countenance we steal.
Thou sayest well, and it holds well too, for the fortune of us that are the moon's men doth ebb and flow like the sea, being governed as the sea is by the moon. Now, for proof, a purse of gold, most resolutely snatched on Monday night, and most dissolutely spent on Tuesday morning. Got with swearing, lay by! Lay by! And spent with crying, bring in. Now, in as low an ebb as the foot of the ladder, and by, in as high a flow as the ridge of the gallows. No?
By the Lord, thou sayest true. And is not my hostess of the tavern a most sweet wench?
Why, what a pox have I to do with my hostess of the tavern?
Well, thou hast called her to a reckoning many a time and oft.
Did I ever call for thee to pay thy parts?
Oh, I give thee thy credit. thou hast paid all there.
Oh, yea, and elsewhere, so far as my coin would stretch, and where it would not, I have used my credit.
Yea, and so used it, that were it not here apparent that thou art heir apparent. But, I prithee, sweet lad, shall there be gallows standing in England when thou art king? And resolution thus fobbed as it is with the rusty curb of old Father Antic the law? Do not thou, when thou art king, hang a thief.
No, thou shalt.
Shall I? No hair. By the Lord, I'll be a brave judge.
Thou judgest false already. I mean, thou shalt have the hanging of the thieves, and so become a rare hangman.
Thou art the most comparative, rascaliest, sweet young prince. Thou hast done much harm upon me now. God forgive thee for it. Before I knew thee how, I knew nothing.
Oh, come now.
And yet now, if a man may speak truly, am I little better than one of the wicked. I must give over this life. And I will give it over, by the Lord, or I'll be a villain else. I'll be damned for never a king's son in all Christendom.
Where shall we take a purse tomorrow, Jack?
Zoons, where thou wilt, lad. I'll make one, and if I do not, call me a villain and dapple.
Oh, I see a good amendment of life in thee, from praying to purse-taking.
This is my vocation, Hal. 'Tis no sin for a man to labor at his vocation. Points! This is the most contemptible, omnipotent villain that ever cried stand to a true man.
Good morrow, Nan.
Good morrow, sweet Hal. Well, what says Monsieur Remorse? What says Sir John Sack and Sugar? Jack, how agrees the devil and thee about thy soul? That thou soldest him on Good Friday last for a cup of Madeira and a cold capon's leg?
Sir John stands to his word. The devil shall have his bargain, for he was never yet a breaker of proverbs. He will give the devil his due.
Then art thou damned for keeping thy word with the devil.
Elsie had been damned for cousining the devil.
But my lads! Tomorrow morning by 4 o'clock early at Gadshill, there are pilgrims going to Canterbury with rich offerings. We may do it as secure as sleep. If you will go, I will stuff your purses full of crowns. If you will not, tarry at home and be hanged.
Hear ye, Dan, if I tarry at home and go not, I'll hang you for going.
You will. Chops.
How? Will thou make one?
Who? I, Rob? I, a thief? Oh, not I, by my faith. I, a thief? Not I, by my faith.
Why, there is neither honesty, nor manhood, nor good fellowship in thee, nor thou camest not of the blood royal, if thou darest not stand for 10 shillings.
Well then, once in my days, I'll be a madcap!
That's well said.
Well, come what will, I'll tarry at home.
By the Lord, I'll be a traitor.
I care not.
Sir John, I prithee, leave the prince and me alone. I will lay him down such reasons for this adventure that he will go.
Well, God give thee the spirit of persuasion, and him the ears of prophecy, that what thou speakest may move, and what he hears may be believed. That the true prince, for recreation's sake, prove a false thief. Farewell, you shall find me at Eastcheap.
Now, my good, sweet honey lord, ride with us tomorrow. I have a jest to execute that I cannot manage alone. Execute that I cannot manage alone. Falstaff, Bardolph, and Peto shall rob those men that we have already waylaid. Yourself and I will not be there. And when they have the booty, if you and I do not rob them, cut this head off from these shoulders.
Yea, but 'tis like that they will know us by our horses, by our habits, by every other appointment to be ourselves.
Tut, our horses they shall not see, I'll hide them in the wood. And sirrah, I have cases they shall not see, I'll hide them in the wood. And sirrah, I have cases of buckram for the knots, in mask are noted out for themselves.
Yea, but I doubt they will be too hard for us.
For you he fought with, what wars, what blows, what extremities he endured. And in the reward for this lies the jest.
Well, I'll go with thee. Go. Find us all things necessary and meet me tomorrow night in Eastcheap. There I'll sup. Farewell.
Farewell, my lord.
I know you all, and will a while uphold the unyoked humor of your idleness. Yet herein will I imitate the sun, who doth permit the base contagious clouds to smother up his beauty from the world, that when he please again to be himself, being wanted, he may be more wondered at, by breaking through the foul and ugly mists of vapors that did seem to strangle him. If all the year were playing holidays, to sport would be as tedious as to work. But when they seldom come, they wished for come, and nothing pleaseth but rare accidents. So, when this loose behavior I throw off, and pay the debt I never promised, by how much better than my word I am, by so much shall I falsify men's hopes, and, like bright metal on a sullen ground, my reformation, glittering o'er my fault, shall show more goodly and attract more eyes than that which has no foil to set it off. I'll so offend, to make offense a skill, redeeming time, when men think least, I will. When men think least, I will.
My blood hath been too cold and temperate, unapt to stir at these indignities, and you have found me, for accordingly you tread upon my patience. But be sure, I will from henceforth rather be myself, mighty, and to be feared, than my condition.
Our house, my sovereign liege, little deserves the scourge of greatness to be used on it. And that same greatness, too, which our own hands have hoped to make so shortly.
My lord,
Must I get thee gone? For I do see danger and disobedience in thine eye. Madam, your presence here is too bold and peremptory. We give you good leave to leave us. When we have need and use of your counsel, we shall send for you. You are about to speak.
Yea, good my lord. Those prisoners, in your highness's name demanded, which Harry Percy here at home done took, were as not with such strength denied, as was delivered to your majesty. Either envy, therefore, or misprision, are guilty of the fault, and not my son.
My liege, I did deny no prisoners, but I remember when the fight was done, when I was dry with rage and extreme toil, breathless and faint, resting upon my sword, there came a certain lord, neat and trimly dressed, fresh as a bridegroom, and his chin showed like new stubble land at harvest home. He was perfumed like a milliner, and betwixt his finger and his thumb he held a pouncet box, which ever and anon he gave to his nose and took its way again. Still he smiled and talked, and as the soldiers bore dead bodies by, he called them untaught names, unmannerly, to bring a slovenly, unhandsome course betwixt the wind and his high nobility. I then, smarting, with my wounds being cold, to be so pestered with popinjay, out of my grief and my impatience, I answered neglectedly, I know not what. He should or he should not, for it made me mad to see him shine so brisk, and to smell so sweet, and to talk so like a waiting gentlewoman of guns and drums and wounds, God save the mark, that telling me that for but these vile guns he would himself have been a soldier. This bald, unjointed chat of his, my lord, I answered indirectly, as I said, and I beseech you, let not his report come current for an accusation betwixt my love and your high majesty.
The circumstance considered good, my lord, whate'er Lord Harry Percy then had said to such a man, in such a place, at such a time, with all the rest we told, should reasonably die, and never rise to do him wrong or in any way impeach. What then he said, unsay it now, unsay it now.
Why, yet he doth deny his prisoners, but with proviso and exception. And on my charges, I should ransom home straight his foolish brother-in-law, the foolish Mortimer, who, on my soul, hath willfully betrayed all of those lives he did lead to fight against that great magician, damned Glendower, and whose daughter, as we hear, hath Mortimer lately married. Should we empty our coffers to ransom home a traitor? Should we buy treason? No. On the barren mountains let him starve. For I shall never hold that man my friend whose tongue asked me for 1 penny cost to ransom home revolted Mortimer.
Revolted Mortimer! He never did fall off, my sovereign liege, but by the chance of war. To prove that crew needs no more than but 1 tongue for all these wounds, when valiantly he took a hand-to-hand in single opposition and confounding Hardiman for the better part of an hour with great Glendower. Therefore, let him not be slandered with revolt.
Thou dost belie him, Percy! Thou dost belie him! He never did encounter Glendower. Well, he never did encounter with Glendower. Well, thou just as well as might have said he encountered the devil alone as Owen Glendower for an enemy. Art thou not ashamed? But, sirrah, from henceforth, let me not hear you speak of Mortimer. Send me your prisoners with the speediest of means, or you shall hear from me of such a kind as will displease you. Lady Northumberland, we license departure with your son. Send us your prisoners, or you will hear of it!
And if the devil come and roar for them, I will not send them! I will after spring and tell them so! I will ease my heart, albeit I'll make a hazard of my head.
What? Drunk with choler? Stay. Pause a while. Remove your cousin Worcester.
Speak of Mortimer! Swoop! I will speak of him, and cry my soul mercy if I do not join with him. Yea, on his part, I'll empty all my veins, and I will shed my dear blood, drop by drop, into the dust. I will lift the downtrodden Mortimer as high in the air as this unthankful king, as this ingrate, this cankered Bolingbroke.
Oh, sister, the king hath made your nephew mad!
Who struck this heat up after I was gone?
He will, forsooth, have all my prisoners. And when I urged once again the ransom of my wife's brother, he then turned a cheek and looked pale, and turned a cheek upon me, looked at me with the eye of death, trembling even at the name Mortimer.
Peace, cousin, say no more. And now I will unclasp a secret book and read you matter deep and dangerous. Good cousin, give me audience for a while. Cousin, give me audience for a while.
I cry you mercy.
Those same noble Scotsmen are your prisoners.
Nay, I'll keep them all. No, he shall not have a Scot of them. Nay, if a Scot should save his soul, he shall not. I'll keep them all by this hand.
Start away and lend no ear to my purposes. Those prisoners you shall keep.
Nay, I will, that's flat. He told me he would not ransom Mortimer. Forbade my tongue to speak of Mortimer. I'll find him wherein he lies asleep, and in his ear I'll holler Mortimer. Nay, I'll have a starling be taught nothing but the name Mortimer, 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 Mortimer. And I'll give it to him to keep his anger still in motion.
Hear you, cousin. A word.
All these studies here I solemnly defy, save how to pinch and gall this Bolingbroke in the same sword and buckler Prince of Wales. But I think that his father loves him not, and would be glad he met with some mischance. I would have poisoned him with a pot of ale.
Farewell, kinsman. I'll talk to you when you are better tempered to attend.
Why, what a wasp stung! An impatient fool thou art to break into this woman's mood, tying thine ear to no other tongue but thine own.
Why, look you, I am whipped and scourged with rods, and nettled and stung with pismires when I do hear of this vile politician Bolingbroke. God forgive me. Good cousin, tell your tale. I have done.
Nay, and if you have not, to it again. We will stay your leisure.
I have done, in faith.
Then once again to your Scottish prisoners. Deliver them up without their ransom straight. And make the Douglas your only mean for powers in Scotland. Oh!
I smell it. Upon my life, it will do well.
Before the game's afoot, thou let slip.
This cannot but choose be a noble plot, and then we'll have the power of York and of Scotland to join with Mortimer. Ha!
So they shall.
It is exceedingly well aimed, and we will be revenged upon the king.
Cousin, farewell. Roam no further in this than I, my ladder, shall direct your course.
And well, good sister, we shall thrive, I trust.
Cousin, adieu. Oh, let the hours be short, till fields and blows and groans applaud our sport.
Come, shelter, shelter! I have removed Falstaff's horse and he grabs like a gum velvet.
Point! Stand close!
Point! Point! Be hanged, Point!
Peace, you fat-tended rascal! What a brawling dost thou keep!
Where's Point, Hal?
She's walked up to the top of the hill. I'll go seek her.
I am accursed to rob in that woman's company. The doxy have tied up my horse and removed him I know not where. If I travel but 4 foot further afoot, I shall break my wing. Well, I have no doubt but to die a fair death for all of this if I escape hanging for killing that woman. I have avoided her company hourly at any time this 22 years, and yet I am bewitched with the woman's company. If the vixen have not given me potions to make me love her, I'll be hanged. It cannot be else. I have drunk potion. Point! Hal! I'm plaguing you both! Barnolf! Pino! I'll starve ere I rob a foot further. And, for not as good a deed as great to turn true men and leave these rogues, I am the veriest varlet that ever chewed with a tooth. Plague on it, when thieves cannot be true to one another. I'm plaguing you all! Give me my horse! Give me my horse and be hanged!
Peace, you fat guts! Lie down! Lay thine ear close to the ground and list if thou canst hear the tread of travelers.
Have thou levers to lift me up again, being down? But I'll not bear my flesh so far afoot again for all the coin in thy father's exchequer. I prithee, good Prince Hal, help me to my horse, good king's son.
Out, you rogue! Shall I be your ostler?
Hang yourself in your own heir-apparent garters. If I'm tame, I'll peach for this. And I've got ballads made on you all and sung to filthy tunes. A cup of sack be my poison. When a jest is so forward and a foot too, I hate it.
Stand!
So I do, against my will.
Myrtle, what news?
There's money coming down the hill! Tis going to Canterbury!
You lie, you rogue. Tis going to Eastcheap.
That's enough to make us all.
To be hanged.
Sirs, you three shall front them in the narrow lane. Then Poins and I will walk lower. If they escape from your encounter, then they light on us.
How many be there of them?
Some 8 or 10.
Zoons, will they not rob us?
What? A coward, Sir John Paunch!
Indeed, I'm not John of Gaunt, your grandfather. But yet no coward now.
Well, we leave that to the crew.
Sirrah Jack, thy horse stands behind the hedge. When thou needest him, there thou shalt find him. Farewell, and stand fast.
Now I cannot strike if I should be hanged. Come, masters. Happy man be his dole, I say. Every man to his business.
Man, where are the guys?
Here, hard by, stand close.
Come, sisters, the boy shall lead our horses down the hill. We'll walk a foot while and ease our legs.
Stand! Down with them! Cut the villain's throats! Down with them! Fleece them! They hate us, youth!
We are not done, but we are ours forever.
Hang ye, you fat chucks! Young men must live! Now, come, my masters. Let us share and then to horse before day. And that Prince of Coins be not errant cowards, there's no equity stirring. There's no more valor in that coins than a wild duck. Your money!
Got with much ease. Now merrily to horse. All the thieves are all scattered and possessed with fear. Away, good man. Oh! Falstaff sweats to death and lards the lean earth as he walks along. Were it not for laughing, I should pity him.
How the rogue roared.
But for mine own part, my lord, I could be well contented to be here in respect of the love I bear your. He could be contented, then why is he not? And the love and the respect he bears our house, I think he loves his own barn better than he loves our house. Let me see some more. The purpose you undertake is dangerous. Why, that's certain. 'Tis dangerous to take a cold, to eat, to sleep. But I tell you, my lord, fool, out of this nettle, danger, we pluck this flower safely. The purpose you undertake is dangerous. The friends you have named uncertain. The time itself unsorted, and your whole plot too light for the counterpoise of so great an opposition. Oh, say you so. Say you so. Why, I say you are a shallow, cowardly hind, and you lie. You are a shallow, cowardly hind, and you lie. What a lack brain is this? And I'm a rascal, I could brain him with his ladies fair. Our plot is as good a plot as ever was laid. Our friends, true and constant. A good plot, very good friends. A very good plot, excellent friends. Is there not my mother, Cousin Worcester, and myself? Is there not the Lord of York and Owen Glendower? Is there not Lord Mortimer? Is there not, besides the Douglas? And have they not all of them letters to meet me in arms at the 9th of next month? And are not some of them set forward already? Oh, I could divide myself and go to Buffett's for moving such a dish of skim milk for so honorable an action. Hang him! We are prepared! I will set forward tonight! Hang him! We are prepared! I will set forward tonight. Oh, come, my Kate. Oh, I must leave you now within these 2 hours.
Why are you thus alone? To what offense have I this fortnight been a banished woman from my Harry's bed? Tell me, sweet lord, what is it that takes from me thy stomach, pleasure, and thy golden sleep? Why dost thou bend thine eyes upon the earth and start so often when thou sits alone? Why hast thou lost the fresh blood in thy cheeks and given my treasures and my rights of meat? Think I musing in cursed melancholy. In thy faint slumbers I by thee have watched and heard thee murmur tales of iron lords, sweet terms of
bubbles in a lake-disturbed stream. In my face, strange motions have appeared, such as we see when men restrain their breath on some great sudden test. Oh, what portents are these? Some heavy business have my lord in hand, and I must know it, else he loves me not.
What? Oh!
But hear you, my lord.
What sayest thou, my lady?
What is it carries you away?
Oh, my horse, my love, my horse!
Out, you mad-headed ape! A weasel hath nothing to deal, slick as you were tossed with. It may thou know thy business, Harry, that I will. I fear my brother Mortimer doth stir about his title, and hath sent for you to light his enterprise. But if you go...
So far, afoot. I shall be weary, love.
Have your parent, you tell me. Answer me directly unto this question that I ask. Read all Harry, thou dost not tell me all things.
Away! Away, you trifler! Love, I love thee not. I care not for thee, Kate. This is no world to play with mammoths and to tilt with lips. We must have bloody noses and cracked crowns. God's me, my horse! Oh, what sayest, my love? What wouldst thou have with me?
Do you not love me? Do you not indeed? Do you not indeed? Do not then, for since you love me not, I will not love myself. Do you not love me? Nay, tell me if you speak in jest or no.
Wilt thou see me ride? And when I am on my horse, I will swear I love thee infinitely. But hark you, Kate, I must not have you henceforth question me, nor reason whereabout. Whither I must, I must. And to conclude, this evening must I leave you, gentle Kate. I know you are wise, but yet no farther wise than Harry Percy's wife. Constant you are, yet a woman. And therefore, for secrecy, no lady closer. For I believe thou wilt not utter what thou dost not know. And so far, will I trust thee, gentle Kate.
So far.
Not an inch farther. Come, Kate, whither I go, thither shall you go too. Tonight I will set forward, tomorrow you. Will this content you, Kate?
It must, of course. My lord, old Sir John and half a dozen more at the door. Shall I let them in?
Let them alone a while, then open the door. Man, Falstaff and the rest of the thieves are at the door. Shall we be merry?
As merry as crickets, my lad.
Oh, I am not yet of Percy's mind, the hot spur of the north. He that kills me some 6 or 7 dozen of Scots at a breakfast. Washes his hands and says to his wife, "Fie upon this quiet life, I want work."
Oh, my sweet Harry, says she, how many hast thou killed today?
"Give my roan horse a drink," says he, then answers, "Some 14. An hour after, a trifle. I prithee, call in Falstaff. I'll play Percy, and that damned brawn shall play Dame Mortimer his wife. Oh, Remo, says the drunkard. Call in Root! Call in Tallow!
Welcome, Jack. Where hast thou been?
A plague of all cowards, I say. And a vengeance too. Marry and amen. Give me a cup of sack. A plague of all give me a cup of sack, bro. Is there no virtue extant? You wench. There's wine in that sack too. There is nothing but roguery to be found in villainous men. But a coward is worse than a cup of sack with lime in it. A villainous coward. Oh, go thy ways, old Jack. Die when thou wilt. If manhood, good manhood, be not forgot upon the face of the earth, then I am a shot in herring.
Oh,
There live not 3 good men unhanged in England, and one of them is fat and grows old. Oh, God help the while. A bad world, I say, a plague of all cowards, I say still.
how now, Woolsack? What mutter you?
Ah, King's son, you Prince of Wales.
Why, you horse and round man. What's the matter?
Are you not a coward? Answer me to that, and points there.
Zones, ye fat paunch! Any coming coward, by the Lord, I'll stab thee!
I call thee coward? I'll see thee damned ere I call thee coward. But I would give £1,000 I could run as fast as thou canst. You are straight enough in the shoulders. You care not who sees your back. Call you that the backing of your friends? A plague on such backing. Give me them that will face me. Give me a cup of sack. I'm a rogue if I've drunk today.
Oh, villain! Thy lips are scarce wiped since thou drunkest last.
All's one to that. A plague of all cowards, I say still.
Oh, what's the matter?
What's the matter? There are 3 of us here ta'en £1,000 this day morning.
Ooh, where is it, Jack? Where is it?
Where is it? Take it from us, it is. 100 upon the poor 3 of us.
What? 100, man!
If I were not at half sword with a dozen or more, 2 hours together, I am a rogue. I escaped by miracle. I am 8 times thrust through the double, 4 times through the hose, my buckler cut through and through, my sword hacked like a handsaw. At J. Signet. I never dealt better as a man, all would not do. A plague of all cowards. Let them speak. If they speak more or less the truth, they are villains and the sons of darkness.
Speak, sirs. How was it? Well, we three set upon some dozen and
16 at least, my lord.
and bound them.
No, they were not bound.
Yes, they were bound, every man of them.
As we were sharing, some 6 or 7 fresh men set upon us.
And unbound the rest, and then came the other.
What? Fought you with them all?
All? I know not what you call all. But if I fought not with 50 of them, I am a bunch of radish. If there were not 2 or 3 and 50 upon poor old Jack, I am no 2-legged creature.
Pray God you have not murdered some of them.
Hey, that is past the praying for. I have peppered 2 of them. 2 I am sure I have paid. 2 rogues in buckram suits. I'll tell you what now, if I tell thee a lie, spit in my face, call me horse. Thou knowst my old ward. Here I lay. And thus I bore my point. 4 rogues in buckram. Let drive at me.
What, 4? Thou saidst but 2 even now.
4, Hal? I told thee 4.
Aye, he said 4.
Now these 4 came all affront and mainly thrust at me. But I made no more ado, but took all 7 of their points at my target thus.
7? There were but 4 even now.
In buckram?
Aye, 4 in buckram suits.
No, 7 by these hilts, or I'm a villain else.
I pray thee, let him alone. We shall have more anon.
Dost thou hear me, Hal?
Oh, aye, and mark thee too, Jack.
Do so, for it is worth the listening to. Now, these 9 in buckram that I told you.
So, 2 more already.
Began to give me ground, but I followed me close, came in foot and hand, and with a word, 7 of the 11 I paid.
Monstrous! 11 buckram men, grown out of 2.
Oh, but, as the devil would have it, 3 misbegotten knaves in Kendall Green came in my back, and let drive at me. It was so dark how thou couldst not see thy hand.
These lies are like their father that begets them. Gross as a mountain, open, palpable. Why, thou clay-brained guts, thou naughty pated fool, thou whoreson, obscene, greasy tallow catch.
What? Art thou mad? Art thou mad? Is not the truth the truth?
How couldst thou know these men in Kendall Green when it was so dark thou couldst not see thy hand? Come, tell us your reason. What sayest thou to this?
Come, your reason, Jack, your reason.
What? Upon compulsion? Zoos, if I were at the Strappado, or all the racks in the world, I would not tell you upon compulsion. Give you a reason upon compulsion? If reasons were as plentiful as blackberries, I would give no man a reason upon compulsion.
I'll be no longer guilty of this sin, this sanguine coward, this bed presser, this horseback breaker, this huge hill of flesh.
Starveling. You dried neat's tongue. You bull pizzle. Oh! For breath to utter what thee is like. You tailor's yoke. You sheep. You bookcase. You vile standing.
Well, breathe a while, and then to it again. And when thou hast tired thyself in base comparisons, hear me speak but this.
Mark, Jack.
We too saw you three set on three, and bound them, and were masters of their wealth. Mark now how a plain tale shall put you down. We too then set upon you three, and with a word outfaced you from your prize, and have it, yea, and can show it you here in the house. And, Falstaff, you carried your guts away as nimbly, with as quick dexterity, and roared for mercy, and still run and roared, as ever I heard bull calf. Why, what a slave art thou, to hack thy sword as thou hast done, and then say it was in fight. What trick, what device, what starting hole canst thou now find to hide thee from this open and apparent shame?
Come, let's hear, Jack. What trick hast thou now?
By the Lord, I knew ye as well as he that made ye.
Fie!
Here, my masters. Was it for me to kill the heir apparent? Should I turn upon the true prince? Oh, thou knowest I am as valiant as Hercules. Oh, but beware instinct. Instinct. The true lion will not touch the true prince. Instinct is a great matter. I was now a coward on instinct. I shall think better of myself and thee in the future. Myself for a valiant lion and thee for a true prince. But lad, I'm glad you have the money. Hostess, watch the door, clap the doors, watch tonight, pray tomorrow. Valets, lads, boys, hearts of gold, all titles of good fellowship come to you. Now, shall we be merry? Shall we have a play extempore?
Yes! Content! And the argument shall be thy running away.
No more of that, Hal. Thou lovest me.
Hey!
Oh, Jesus, my lord the prince.
Oh, how now, my lady, the hostess! What sayest thou to me?
Marry, my lord, there is a nobleman of the court at the door would speak with you. He says he comes from your father.
What manner of man is he?
An old man.
What? Does gravity out of his bed at midnight? Shall I give him his answer?
Prithee, do, Jack.
Faith, and I'll send him packing.
Now, sirs! Liar, lady, you fought fair. So did you, Peto. So did you, Bardolph. You are lions, too. You ran away upon instinct. You will not touch the true prince, no. Fine.
In faith, I ran when I saw others run.
Faith, tell me now in earnest, how came Falstaff's sword so hacked?
Why, he hacked it with his dagger. He said he would swear truth out of England, but he'd make you believe it was done in fight, and he persuaded us to do the like.
Yeah, and to tickle our noses with spear grass to make the bleed, and then to beslubber our garments with it and swear it was the blood of true men. I did that, I did not, this 7 years hence. I blushed to hear his monstrous devices.
Oh, villain! Thou stolest a cup of sack 18 years ago, and wert taken with the matter, and ever since thou hast blushed extempore. Thou hadst fire and sword on thy side, and yet thou ranst away. What instinct hadst thou for it?
My lord, do you behold these exhalations? Do you see these meteors?
I do.
What think you they portend?
Hot livers and cold purses.
Collar, my lord, if rightly taken.
No, if rightly taken, halter. Oh, here comes lean Jack. Here comes bare bone. And now, my sweet creature of bombast. How long is it ago, Jack, since thou sawest thine own need?
My own need. When I was thy years, Hal, I was not an eagle's talon in the waist. I could have crept into any alderman's doublet. A plague of sighing and grief blows a man up like a bladder. There is villainous news abroad. This was Sir John Grayson from your father. That same mad fellow of the north, Percy, and he of Wales, that made Lucifer cuckold and calls the devil his true liegeman. What a plague you call him?
Oh, Glendower.
Glendower, Owen, the same. And his son-in-law Mortimer, and that and old Northumberland, and that sprightly scot of Scots, Douglas. She that rides a horseback up a hill perpendicular.
Oh, she that rides at high speeds and with her pistol kills a sparrow flying.
You have hit it.
So did she, never the sparrow.
She will not run. That she has good mettle in her.
Why, what a rascal art thou then, to praise her so for running?
A horseback, if cuckoo, but afoot she will not budge a foot.
Yes, Jack, upon instinct.
I grant you, upon instinct. She is there too. Worcester is stolen away tonight. My father's beard has turned white with the news. You must to court in the morning. You may now buy land as cheap as stinking mackerel. But tell me how. Thou not horribly afeard? I being heir apparent, could the world pick thee out 3 such villains again as that fiend? Douglas, that spirit, Percy, and that devil, Glendower. Art thou horribly afeard? Does not thy blood thrill at me?
Not a word in faith. I lack some of thy instinct.
Thou wilt be horribly chid tomorrow when thou comest to thy father. If thou lovest me, practice and answer.
Well, do thou stand for my father and examine me upon the particulars of my life.
Shall I?
Yes!
Content? This chair shall be my state, this dagger my scepter, this my crown. And the fire of grace be not quite out of thee, thou shalt not be moved. Give me a cup of sack. To make mine eyes red. Sure. For it should appear that I have wept. For I must speak in passion.
Well, here is my leg.
And here is my speech. Stand aside, nobility.
Jason, this is excellent sport in vain.
Weep not, sweet queen, for trickling tears are vain.
The father, how he holds his countenance.
My lords, for God's sake, convey away my trustful queen, for tears do stop the floodgates of her eyes.
Jason, he is just like one of these harlotry players.
Peace, good pipe pot. Peace, good tickle brain. Hattie, I do not only marvel at how thou spendest thy time, but also how thou art accompanied.
Hey!
For though the chamomile of the moor is trodden on, the faster it grows. Yet youth, the more it is wasted, the sooner it wears. That thou art my son, I have partly thy mother's word, partly mine own opinion, but chiefly a villainous look in thine eye and a foolish hanging of thy nether lip that doth warrant me. If then thou be son to me, here lies the point. Why, being son to me, art thou so pointed at? Shall the blessed Son of Heaven prove a truant and eat blackberries? A question not to be asked. Should the Son of England prove a thief and take purses? A question to be asked. There is a thing, Hattie, which thou hast often heard, and which is known to many in our kingdom by the name of pitch.
Pitch.
This pitch, as ancient writers do report, doth define. So too does the company thou keepst. For now, Harry, I speak to thee not in drink, but in tears. Not in pleasure, but in passion. Not in words only, but in woes also. And yet, there is a virtuous man with whom I have oft seen in thy company, but I know not his name.
What manner of man, an it like your majesty?
A goodly, portly man, and a corpulent, of a pleasing eye, a cheerful look, and a noble carriage. And his age some 50.
Oh, come on.
Or by a lady inclining toward 80. And now, I remember me, his name is Falstaff. Oh, if that man be lewdly given, he deceiveth me. For Harry, I see virtue in his looks. And if the tree may be known by the fruit as the fruit by the tree, then I say to thee peremptorily, there is virtue in that Falstaff. With him keep the rest banished. Now, thy naughty varlet, where hast thou been this month?
Dost thou speak like a king? Do thou stand for me, and I'll play my father.
Oppose me? If thou dost it so majestically, so majestically, so gallantly, in both thought and manner, thou have to hang me by the heels for a rabbit sucker or a poulter's hand.
Well, here I am set.
And here I stand. Judge, my master.
Now, Harry, whence come you?
My lord from East Cheap.
The complaints I hear of thee are grievous.
Blood, my lord, they are false. Yea, I'll tip it for young prince of me.
Swearest thou, ungracious boy, henceforth ne'er look on me. Thou art violently carried away from grace. A devil haunts thee, in the likeness of an old fat man. A ton of man is thy companion. Why dost thou converse with that trunk of humors, that bolting hutch of beastliness, that swollen parcel of dropsies, that huge bombard of sack, that stuffed cloak bag of guts, that roasted Manningtree ox with the pudding in his belly? Wherein is he good, but to taste sack and drink it? Wherein neat and cleanly, but to carve a capon and eat it? Wherein cunning, but in craft? Wherein crafty, but in villainy? And wherein villainous, but in all things? And wherein worthy, but in nothing?
Why would your grace take me with you? Who needs your grace?
That villainous, abominable misleader of youth, Falstaff, that old white-bearded Satan.
My lord, the man I know.
I know thou dost.
But to say I know more harm in him than I know in myself would be to say more than I know. That he is old, God help the while, his white hairs do witness it. But to say, saving your reverence, that he is a whoremonger, that I utterly deny. If sack and sugar be a fault, God help the wicked. If to be old and to be merry is a sin, then many an old host I know is damned. If to be fat is to be hated, and Pharaoh's lean kine are loved, no, my good lord, banish Bardolph, banish Peto, banish Poins. But for sweet Jack Falstaff, kind Jack Falstaff, true Jack Falstaff, valiant Jack Falstaff, and being so valiant as he is, old Jack Falstaff, banish not him thy Harry's company. Banish not thy Harry's company. Banish plump Jack, and banish all the world.
I do. I will.
My lord, the sheriff and the most monstrous watch is at the door.
Sounds you rogue. Play out the play. I have much to say on behalf of Miss Falstaff.
Oh, Jesu, my lord.
Hey, the devil rides upon a fiddlestick. What's the matter?
The sheriff and all the watcher at the door, they have come to search the house. Should we let them in?
Dost thou hear, Hal? Never call a true piece of gold a counterfeit. Thou artist, seemingly mad without seeming so.
And thou a natural coward without instinct.
I deny your major. If you will deny the sheriff, so. If not, let him enter. If I make not a cart like another man as well as another man, a plague am I bringing up. I hope I should as soon be strangled with a halter as another.
Go, hide thee. The rest walk up above. And now, my masters, for a true face and good conscience.
Both of which I have had, but their date is out. Therefore, I shall hide.
Call in the sheriff! Now, Master Sheriff, what is your will with me?
First, pardon me, my lord. A hue and a cry hath followed certain men into this house.
What men?
One of them is well known, my gracious lord, a gross, fat man.
The man, I do assure you, is not here. For I myself at this time have employed him. And, Master Sheriff, I will engage my word to thee that by tomorrow this time I shall send him to answer thee or any man for anything he shall be answerable for. And so, let me entreat you leave the house.
I will, my lord. There are 2 pilgrims have in this robbery lost 300 marks.
It may be so. If he have robbed them, he shall be answerable. And so, farewell.
Good night, my noble lord.
I think it is good morrow, is it not?
Indeed, my lord, I think it be 2 o'clock.
This oily rascal is known as well as St. Paul's. Go, call him forth.
Fast asleep and snoring like a horse.
Hark, how hard he fetches breath. Search his pockets. What hast thou found?
Nothing but papers, my lord.
Now let us see what they be. Read them.
Item. A capo.
Caper.
2 shillings, 4 pence. Item sauce. 6 pence. Item sack. 2 gallons. 5 shillings, 6 pence. Item anchovies and sack out of December. 5 shillings, 8 pence. Item bread. 1 halfpenny.
Oh, monstrous! But 1 halfpenny worth of bread to this intolerable deal of sack. There, let him sleep till day. Out to the court in the morning. And we must all to the wars. And thy place shall be honorable. I'll procure this fat rogue a charge of foot, and I know his death shall be a march of 12 score. The money shall be paid back again, with advantage. Be with me betimes in the morning, and so, good morrow, Peter.
Good morrow, my lord.
Intermission!
I kicked him to the curb after that. Take care of that.
Upstairs, the party's short, and our induction close, prosperous hope.
Cuddy Buster. Oh, my Lord Glendower. Will you sit down? Oh, a plague upon you. I have forgotten that.
No, here it is. Oh, here it is. Come, sit, cousin Percy. Sit, good cousin Hotspur, for by that name, as oft as Lancaster don't speak your name, his cheeks grow pale, and this is you in heaven.
And you in hell, as oft as he hears Owen Glendower spoke of.
I cannot blame him, for at my nativity, the front of heaven was filled with fiery shapes and burning crescents. At my birth, the frame and huge foundation of the earth, shaped like a coward.
And so it were of the same season, if your mother's cat had but kittened, though yourself had never been born.
I say,
the earth shake when I was born.
And I say that the earth was not of my mind, if you suppose in fearing you it shook.
The heavens were filled with fire! The heavens were filled with fire! The earth trembled!
So the earth shook to see the heavens on fire then, and not in fear of your nativity.
Cousin, of many men, I do not bear these crossings. Give me leave to tell you once again that at my birth, the front of heaven was filled with fiery shapes. The goats ran from the mountains. The herds were strangely clamorous to the frightened fields. These signs have marked me extraordinary, and all the courses of my life do show that I am not in the common role of man. Bring, where is he living, which can call me pupil? Bring him out, who is but woman born, who can trace me in the tedious ways of art, and hold me pace in deep experiments.
I think there's no man speaks better Welsh. Out to dinner.
I can call spirits from the vasty sea!
Why, so can I, or so can any man. But will they come when you do call for them?
I can teach you, cuz, how to command the devil.
And I can teach thee, cuz, to shame the devil by telling truth. Tell truth and shame the devil. If thou says he has the power to raise him or bring him hither, and I'll show thee I have the power to shame him thence. Oh, whilst you live, tell truth and shame the devil.
Come, here's the map. Let us divide our right according to our threefold order taken.
The Archbishop hath divided it into three.
Methinks my moiety north from Burton here in quantity equals not one of yours. See how this river comes me quaking in and cuts me from the best part of my land. I'll have the current and this place dammed up, and there the smug and silver Trent shall run in a new channel, fair and evenly. It shall not wind to have an indent here to rob me of so rich a bottom here.
Not wind? It must, it shall. You see, it doth.
Yea, but a little charge will trench him here, and on this north side when this paper clean, then he runs straight and straight.
I'll have it so. A little charge will do it.
I'll not have it altered.
Will not you?
No, nor shall you not.
Who shall say me nay?
Why, I will.
But let me not understand you then. Speak it in Welsh.
I can speak English, Lord, as well as you can. For I was trained up in the English court, where, but being young, I framed to the harp many an English ditty lovely well, and gave the tongue a helpful ornament, a virtue that was never seen in you.
Marry, and I am very glad of it, with all my heart. I had rather be a kitten and cry mew than one of these same meter ballad mongers.
Come, you shall have Trent turn.
I do not care. I'll give up thrice so much of my land to any well-deserving friend. But, in the way of bargain, mark ye me, not cavil on the ninth part of the air. Now the indenture's drawn. Shall we be gone?
The moon is fair. We shall away by night. I will haste the rider and we'll all break with your wife your departure hence.
Fine, Cousin Percy. How do you cross Lord Glendower?
I cannot but choose. Sometimes he angers me, with telling me of the dreamer Merlin, and of his prophecies, and of a dragon, or a finless fish, a crouching lion, or a ramping cat, and all of this scamble stuff keeps me from my faith. I tell you what, he had me last night at least 9 hours in reckoning up the several devil names that were his lackeys. I cried, hum, and well, go to, but mark he not a word. Oh, he is as tedious as a tired horse, a railing wife, worse than a smoky house. I had rather live with cheese and garlic and a windmill far than feed on cakes or talk to him of any summer house in Christendom.
Faith, cousin, you are too willful blamed. And since your coming hither have done quite enough to put him quite aside his patience, you must needs learn, Lord, to amend this fault. Though sometimes it does show greatness, courage, blood, that's the dearest grace it renders you. Yet oftentimes it does present harsh rage, want of government, defective manners, pride, haughtiness, opinion, and disdain, least of which wants noblemen and inclusive men's hearts, leaves behind a stain upon the beauty of all parts.
Well, I am schooled. Good manners be your speed. Oh, look, there comes my wife, and so let us take our leave.
My daughter tells me she'll be a soldier too. She'll to the war. She bids you on the wanton rushes lay you down, and rest your gentle head upon your lady's lap. My daughter will sing the song that pleaseth you. And on your eyelids crown the god of sleep, charming your blood with pleasing heaviness, making such difference betwixt day and night as is the difference between wake and sleep. An hour before the heavily harnessed team begins their progress in the east.
Come, Kate, come. Thou art perfect in lying down. Quick, that I may lay my head in thy lap.
Oh, ye giddy goose. I still hear the lady singing well.
I had rather hear lady, my hound, howl in Irish.
So have thy head broken.
No,
Then be still.
neither. 'Tis a woman's fault.
God help thee.
To the Welsh lady's bed.
What's that?
Peace, she sings. Come, Kate, I'll have your song too.
Not mine, in sooth.
Not yours, in good sooth. Why, you swear like a comfit maker's wife. Not mine, in good sooth. And as God shall lend me, and as true as I live, and as sure as day. Come, Kate, swear me a good mouth-filling oath, and leave in sooth the protest of peppered gingerbread and with velvet guards and Sunday citizens. Come, sing.
I will not sing.
And the indentures be drawn. Well, when the indentures are drawn, well, I'll away within these 2 hours, so come in when ye will.
By this, our book is drawn. It'll put seal. And then, to horse immediately.
I know not whether God will have it so, for some displeasing service that I have done. Out of his secret doom, out of my blood, he'll breed a revengement and a scourge for me. But thou dost, in thy passage of life, make me believe that thou art only marked for the hot rod, and vengeance of heaven. Tell me else, could such inordinate and low desires, such barren pleasures, as thou art matched withal and grafted to, accompany the greatness of thy blood, or hold their level to thy princely heart?
So please your majesty, I would I could quit all offences with this clear excuse, as well as I am doubtless I can purge myself of many I am charged withal. I may, for some things true, wherein my youth hath faulty, wandered, and irregular, find pardon on my true submission.
God pardon me! But let me wonder, Harry, at thy affections, which do hold a wing quite far from the flight of all thy ancestors. The hope and expectation of thy time is ruined, and the soul of every man doth prophetically forethink thy fall. For thou hast lost thy princely privilege with vile participation. Not an eye, but is a-weary of thy common sight, save mine, which desired to see thee more, which now, though I would not have it do, make itself blind with foolish tenderness.
I shall hereafter, my thrice gracious lord, be more myself.
Thrice hath this Hotspur, this Mars in swaddling clothes, this infant warrior in his enterprises, discomforted great Douglas, ta'en him once, enlarged him and made a friend of him to shake up the peace and safety of our throne. And what say you to this? Percy, Northumberland, Grace, the Archbishop of York, Douglas, and Mortimer capitulate against us and are up. But why do I tell these news to thee? Why, Harry, do I tell thee of my foes, which art my nearest and dearest enemy?
Do not think so. You shall not find it so. And God forgive them that so much have swayed your majesty's good thoughts away from me. I will redeem all this on Percy's head, and in the closing of some glorious day, be bold to tell you that I am your son, when I will wear a garment all of blood, and stain my favors in a bloody mask, which washed away shall scour my shame with it. And that shall be the day, whene'er it lights, that this same child of honor and renown, this gallant Hotspur, this all-praised knight, and your unthought of Harry, chance to meet. For every honor sitting on his helm, would they were multitudes, and on my head my shames redoubled. For the time will come that I shall make this northern youth exchange his glorious deeds for my indignities, and I will call him to so strict account that he shall render every glory up, yea, even the slightest worship of his time, or I will tear the reckoning from his heart. This, in the name of God, I promise here, the which, if he be pleased, I shall perform. I do beseech your majesty may salve the long-grown wounds of my intemperance. If not, the end of life cancels all bans, and I will die 100,000 deaths ere break the smallest parcel of this vow.
100,000 rebels die in this. Thou shalt have sovereign trust and reign herein. Oh my God.
Arnulf, why not fallen away vilely since this last action? Why not fade? Why not dwindle? My skin hangs about me like an old lady's loose gown. I am withered like an old apple jar. I must repent. Not some time, still some life. I'll be out of hearts shortly, and I'll have no strength to repent. And I have not forgotten what the inside of a church is made of. I am a peppercorn, a brewer's horse. The inside of a church. Company. Villainous company has been the spoiler.
Sir John, you are so fretful, you cannot live long.
That is it. Sing me a bawdy song. Make me merry.
There once was
I was as virtuously given as a gentleman need be. Virtuous enough. I swore little, diced not above 7 times a week. Went to a bawdy house once in a quarter of an hour. Paid money back that I had borrowed 3 or 4 times. Lived well and in good compass, and now I live Out of all water, out of all compass.
Sir John, you are so fat that you must needs be out of all compass. Out of all reasonable compass, Sir John.
Do thou amend thy life and thy face, and I'll amend my life.
Well, my face does you no harm.
Oh, nay, I'll be sworn. 'Tis a everlasting triumph, a veritable bonfire light. Thou hast saved me 1,000 pounds in tortures, walking with thee at night twixt tavern and tavern.
Well, that would my face were in your belly.
God have mercy, so I would sure to be heartburn. Oh, how now, Dame Tartle the Head? Have you inquired who picked my pocket?
Why, Sir John, what do you think? Do you think I keep thieves in my house? I have searched. I have inquired. So has my husband. Man by man, boy by boy, servant by servant. A tithe of a hair was never lost in my house before.
You lie, hostess. Barnoff was shaved and lost many a hair. And I'll be sworn my pocket was picked. Go to. You are a woman. Go.
Who, I? Nay, I defy thee. God's light, I was never called so in mine own house before.
Go to. I know you well enough.
Oh, no, Sir John. You do not know me, Sir John. I know you, Sir John. You owe me money, Sir John. You owe money here for your diet and 5 drinkings, and money lent you 24 pounds.
I'll not pay a denier. What? Shall you make a younker out of me? Shall I not take mine ease in mine own inn without my pocket being picked? I have lost a seal ring of my grandfather's worth 40 marks.
Oh, Jesus! I have heard the prince say, I know not how oft, that ring was copper.
How? The prince is a jack, a sneak cock. Yea, and I would cudgel him like a dog were he to say so.
Oh, would you?
Yes.
Oh, my lord, I pray you hear me.
What sayest thou, Mistress Quickly?
Prithee, let her alone and listen to me.
What sayest thou, Jack?
I fell asleep here the other night, and my pocket was picked.
Oh.
This house is turned bawdy house. They pick pockets.
What didst thou lose, Jack?
Well, wilt thou believe me, Hal? 3 or 4 notes worth of 40 pound apiece, and a seal ring of my grandfather's.
A trifle, some 8-penny matter.
So I told him, my lord, and said I heard your grace say so. And, my lord, he speaks most vilely of you, like a foul-mouthed man as he is, and said he would cudgel you.
What? He did not.
Oh, there's neither faith, truth, nor womanhood in me else.
There's no more faith in thee than a stewed prude. Go to, you thing, go.
Say what thing? What thing?
What thing? Why, a thing to thank God on.
I am no thing to thank God on, I would thou shouldst know it. I am an honest man's wife, and setting thy knighthood aside, thou art a knave to call me so.
Setting thy womanhood aside, thou art a beast to say otherwise.
Say what beast, thou knave, thou.
What beast? Why an otter?
An otter, Sir John? Why an otter?
She's neither fish nor flesh. A man knows not where to have her.
Thou art an unjust man to say so. Thou or any man knows where to have me. Thou knave, thou.
Thou sayest true, hostess, and he slanders thee most grossly.
So he does you, my lord, and said this other day you owed him 1,000 pounds.
Sirrah, do I owe you 1,000 pounds?
1,000? 1,000,000? Thy love is worth 1,000,000. Thou owest me thy love.
No, my lord, he called you Jack and said you would touch me.
Did I, Barnoff?
Indeed, Sir John, you did.
Yea, if he said my ring were copper.
I say 'tis copper. Darest thou be as good as thy word now?
Well, Alice, thou knowest as thou art man, I dare, but as thou art prince, I fear thee as I fear the roaring of the lion's whelp.
And why not as the lion?
The king is to be feared as the lion. Should I fear thee as I fear thy father? Nay, what I do, I pray my girdle break.
Oh, if it should, how would thy guts fall about thy knees? But, Sirrah, there's no room for faith, truth, nor honesty in this bosom of thine. It's all filled up with guts and midriff. Charge an honest woman with picking thy pocket. Why, thou whoreson, impudent and boss rascal, if thy pocket contained Anything else but tavern reckonings, the memorandums of bawdy houses, and one poor pennyworth of sugar candy to make thee long-winded? If thy pockets were enriched with any other injuries but these, I am a villain, and yet you will stand to it. You will not pocket up wrong. Art thou not ashamed?
You confess it then. You picked my pocket.
It appears so by the story.
Hostess, I forgive you. Go, make ready breakfast. Love thy husband. Look to thy servants. Cherish thy guests. Thou seest I am pacified still. Prithee, be gone. Now, how? As to the news at court. For the robbery, how is it answered?
Oh, my sweet beef. I must still be good angel to thee. The money's paid back again.
Not like that paying back. It's a double labor.
I am good friends with my father and may do anything.
Rob me the exchequer the first thing thou doest, and do it with unwashed hands, too.
Do, my lord! I have procured for thee, Jack, a charge of foot.
I would it were of horse. Where shall I find one that can steal well? Oh, for a fine thief of 2 or 20 or thereabouts. I am heinously unprovided. Well, God be thanked for these rebels. They offend none but the virtuous. I laud them. I praise them.
Bardolph! My lord! Go, bear this letter to my lord of Westmoreland. Go, Peter, to horse, for thou and I have 30 miles to ride yet ere dinner time. Jack, meet me tomorrow in the temple hall at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There shalt thou know thy charge, and there receive money and order for their furniture. The land is burning. Percy stands on high, and either we or they must lower lie.
Rare words. Brave world. Come, hostess, my breakfast, come! Oh, I wish this tavern were my drum.
Well said, my noble Scot. By God, I cannot flatter, but a braver place in my heart's love hath no one than yourself.
Thou art the king of honor. No man so put praise upon the ground but I will beard him.
Do so, and 'tis well.
These letters come from your mother.
Letters from her? Why comes she not herself?
She cannot come, cousin. She is grievous sick.
Swoons! How has she the leisure to be sick in such a rustling time? Sick now! Droop now! Methinks this doth infect the very lifeblood of our enterprise.
Yes, your mother's sickness is a name to us.
A perilous gag! A very limb lopped off! And yet, in faith, it is not. It lends a luster to our opinion, a larger dare to our greater enterprise. For men must think that if we without her help can make a head to stand against a kingdom, with her help we shall overturn it topsy-turvy down. Yet all is well. All our joints are whole.
As hearts can think. There is no such a word spoke of in Scotland as this term of fiend.
Let them come! They come like sacrifices in their trim to the fiery-eyed maid of smoky war when we offer them, all hot and bleeding. The mailed Mars shall on his altar sit up to his ears in blood. I am on fire to hear so rich a reprisal is so nigh, yet not ours. Come, let me taste my horse, who is to bear me like a thunderbolt against the bosom of this Prince of Wales. Harry to Harry shall, hot horse to hot horse, meet and never part, till one drop down a course. Come, doomsday is near. Die all, die merrily.
Why not be ashamed of my soldiers? I am a soused Gurneth. I have misused the king's draft, damn it. I hire me none but good householders. yeoman sons. Acquire me out contracted bachelors. Such a commodity of warm slaves as had leave here the devil as the drug. I draft me such toast and butter, with hearts in their bellies no bigger than pinheads. And they have bought out their services. I have got, in exchange of 150 soldiers, 300 and odd pounds. And now, my charge consists of slaves as ragged as Lazarus. And such have I to fill the rooms of them that bought out their services that you would think I had 150 tattered prodigals lately come from swine keeping. A madman met me on the way and said I had unloaded the gibbets and drafted the dead.
How now, blown Jack?
Hey, what how? How now, madman?
Tell me, Jack, whose fellows are these that come after?
Mine, Hal, mine.
I did never see such pitiful rascals.
Tut, tut, man.
Oh!
Good enough to toss. They'll food for powder, food for powder. They'll fill a pit as well as better. Tush, man. Mortal man. Mortal man.
How utterly the sun doth appear over yon musky hill, making the day seem distemperate.
Southern wind doth play the trumpet to his purposes, and by his hollow whistling in the leaves foretells a tempest and a blustering day.
With the losers let it sympathize, for nothing can seem far to those that win, eh? My Lady of Worcester! How now, my Lady of Worcester, 'tis not well that we should meet upon such terms as now we meet. You have deceived our trust, and made us doff our easy robes of peace, to crush our own limbs in ungentle steel. What say you to it, my lady? 'Tis not well. Will you once again unknit the churlish knot of all abhorred war?
Hear me, my liege. For my own part, I would be well content to spend the lag end of my years with quiet hours. Yet, I must protest, I have not sought the day of this dislike.
You have not sought it. How comes it then?
Rebellion lay in her way, and she found it.
Peace to it, peace.
It pleased your majesty to turn your looks of favor away from myself and all our house. Yet, I must remember you, Lord, we were the first and dearest of your friends.
In both our armies there is many a soul shall pay full dearly for this encounter, if once they join in triumph. Tell your nephew, the Prince of Wales doth join with all the world in praise of Henry Percy. By my hopes, his present enterprise set off his head, I do not think a braver gentleman, more active valiant, or more valiant young, more daring, or more bold, is now alive to grace this latter age with noble deeds. For my part, I may speak it to my shame, I have a truant been to chivalry, and so I hear he doth account me too. Yet this before my father's majesty, I am content that he shall take the odds of his great name and estimation, and will, to save the blood on either side, try fortune with him in a single fight.
Prince of Wales, albeit things considered infinite, we do not make charges against it. But no, my Lady of Worcester, no, we love our people well. And will they accept our offer of grace, then you and he and they and every man will be my friend again, and I his. So go to your cousin and tell us what he will do. But if he will not yield, then rebuke and correction wait on us, and they will do their office. Be gone! We will not now be bothered with reply. We offer fair. Take it advisedly.
It will not be accepted on my life. The Douglas and the Hotspur both together are confident against the world in arms.
Then every leader to his charge, for on their answer we will set on them, and God befriend us, for our cause is just!
Now, if thou seest me down in battle, bestride me so. 'Tis a point of friendship.
Nothing but a colossus can do thee that friendship. Say thy prayers,
And farewell.
Would 'twere bedtime and all.
Why? Thou owest God a death.
'Tis not due yet. I would be loath to pay him before his day. What need I be so forward with him that calls not on me? Well, 'tis no matter. Honor pricks me on. But how if honor prick me off when I come on? How then? Can honor set to a leg? No. Or an arm? No. Or take away the grief of a wound? No. Honor hath no skill in surgery then? No. What is honor? A word? No. What is in that word honor? What is that honor? Air. A trim reckoning. Who hath it? He that died a Wednesday. Doth he hear it? No. Doth he feel it? No. 'Tis insensible then. Yea, to the dead, but will it not live in the living? Why? The traction will not suffer. Therefore, I'll none of it. Honor is a mere scutcheon. So ends my catechism.
Now, my nephew must not know the liberal and kind offer of the king. It is not possible. It cannot be the king will keep his word in loving us. He shall suspect us still and find another time to punish this offense and other faults. Suspicion all our lives is stepful of eyes, for treason is but trusted like the fox. My nephew's trespass may well be forgot, for it hath the excuse of youth and heat of blood. A harebrained hearts were governed by a spleen. All his offenses live upon my head and on his mother's, for we did train him on. And his corruptions, being tamed from us, for we as the spring of all shall pay for all. Therefore I shall not let young Hotspur know, in any case, the kind offer of the king.
Good cousin, what news?
Oh, there is no seeming mercy in the king.
Did you beg of any? God forbid.
I told him gently of our grievances. He called us rebels, traitors, and will scourge with haughty arms his hateful name in us.
Arms, gentlemen, to arms, for I've thrown a brave defiance in King Henry's teeth.
Oh, gentle friends, the time of life is short. And if we live to tread on kings. If die, brave death, we die when princes die with us. Now, for our consciences, lest they be fair when the intent of bearing them is just.
Cousin, prepare. The king comes apace.
I thank him that he cuts me off from my tale, for I profess not talking, only this. Let each man or woman do their best. Now, Esperance and Percy and Sedan sound all the lofty instruments of war, and by their music let us all embrace, for some of us may not the second time to do such a courtesy. Esperance!
Esperance!
What is thy name? In the battle dost thou cross me? What honor dost thou seek upon my head?
Know then, my name is Douglas, and I did haunt thee in battle thus, because some tell me thou art a king.
They tell thee true.
Oh, Douglas, hast thou fought at home than thus? I never would have triumphed over a Scot.
All's done, all's won. Here, breathless lies the king.
Where?
King.
Here, Douglas. No, this is a man I know well. A gallant man was he. My Lord Westmoreland, assembly furnished, like the king himself.
A fool goeth a soul whither it goes. A borrowed title has a book too dear. Why did thou tell me thou wert the king?
Oh, the king hath many men marching in his coats.
Now with the sword, I'll kill all his coats. I'll murder all his wardrobe piece by piece till I meet the king!
Up, up and away! Our soldiers stand full fairly and ready for the day!
Oh, I could skate, shot free in London. I fear the shot here. Here's none scoring, but upon the paint. Soft. Who are you? Westmoreland. Here's honor for you. You'll find no valiant here. I am as hot as molten lead. And as heavy, too. God keep the lead out of me. I want no more weight than mine own bowels. I have led my ragamuffins to where they are peppered. There not be 3 of 150 left alive, and they're for the edge of town to beg during life.
What? Standst thou idle here? I prithee, lend me thy sword. Many a nobleman lies stark and stiff under the hoofs of vaunting enemies, whose deaths are yet unrevenged. I prithee, lend me thy sword.
Give me leave to breathe a while. Turk Gregory has not done deeds like I have done today. I have paid Percy. I have made him sure.
Oh, he is indeed, and living to kill thee. I prithee, lend me thy sword.
Hey, if Percy be alive, by Our Lady, thou will not get my sword, but take my pistol if thou wilt.
Give it to me. What, is it in the case?
Aye, 'tis hot, 'tis hot. There's that will sack a city.
What? Is it a time to jest and dally now?
Percy be alive, I'll pierce him. Come in my way, so. If not, if I go in his way willingly, let him make a carbonado of me. I like not such grinning honor as Westmoreland hath. Give me life, but which if I could save, so. If not, honor comes unlooked for. There's that.
Hurry, withdraw! Thou pleadest too much. God forbid a shallow scratch should drive the Prince of Wales from such a field as this.
Another king! They grow like hydra heads. I am Douglas. Who art thou that contradicts the person of a king?
The king himself. So defend thyself. Hold up thy head, vile Scot, for thou art like never to hold it up again. It is the Prince of Wales that threatens thee, who never promiseth, but he means to pay. Cheerly, my lord! Cheerly, my lord! How fares your grace? May we breathe a while. Thou hast restored thy lost opinion, and shalt thou show some tender of my life with this thou fair rescue thou hast brought to me. Oh God, they did me too much injury that ever said I hearkened for your death.
If I mistake not, thou art Harry Monmouth.
Thou speakst as if I would deny my name.
My name is Harry Percy.
Why then? I see a very valiant rebel of the name. I am the Prince of Wales, and think not, Percy, to share with me in glory anymore. 2 stars broke not their motion in one sphere, nor can one England brook a double reign of Harry Percy and the Prince of Wales.
George Shallen, Harry! Now, I fear the hour has come to end the one of us. I would to God thy name and arms were now as great as mine.
I'll make it greater ere I part from thee, and all the budding honors on thy crest I'll crop to make a garland for my head.
I can no longer brook thy vanities.
Don't say now! True now!
Thou hast robbed me of my youth! Now I perceive the cold and earthly hand of death now lies on my tongue. Now, Percy, thou art dust and food for
worms! Brave Percy! Fare thee well, brave heart. Ill-weaved ambition, how much art thou shrunk? When that this body did contain a spirit, kingdom for it was too small a bound. But now 2 paces of the vilest earth is room enough. This earth that bears thee dead, bears not alive so stout a gentleman. If thou wert sensible to courtesy, I should not make so dear a show of zeal. Adieu. And take thy praise with thee to heaven. Thy ignominy, sleep with thee in the grave, but not remembered in thy epitaph. What? Old acquaintance! Could not all this flesh keep in a little life? Poor Jack, farewell. I could have better spared a better man. Oh, I should have a heaviness of thee, if I were much in love with vanity. Death hath not struck so fat a deer today, though many dearer in this bloody fray. Embowelled will I see thee by and by. Till then, in blood by noble Percy lie.
If you will embalm me today, I'll give thee leave to powder me and eat me too tomorrow. This blood was time to counterfeit. Or that hot termagant Scot had paid me. Scot and lot too. Zoons. I am afraid of this gunpowder Percy. Though he be dead, how if he counterfeit too and should rise? By my life, I'm afraid he would prove the better counterfeit. Therefore, I make him sure. Yea, and I'll say I killed him. What, may he not rise as well as I? Nothing confounds me but eyes, and nobody sees me. Therefore, Sirrah, with this new wound in your thigh, come you along with me.
Ah! Or is it fantasy that plays upon my eyesight? I prithee speak. I will not trust my eyes without my ears.
Indeed, I am no double man. But if I be not Jack Falstaff, then I am a Jack. Here lies Percy. If your father will do me any honor, so if not, let him kill the next Percy himself. I look to be an earl or a duke, I assure you.
By Percy I killed myself, and saw thee dead.
Didst thou? How the world is given to life. I grant ye, I was down and out of breath, and so was he. But we both rose as an instant and fought a long hour by the Shrewsbury clock. If I may be believed, so. If not, let them that reward valor bear the sin upon their own heads. I'll take it to my debt that I gave him this one here, this time. Soon, if he would deny it, I would make him eat a piece of my sword.
Come, bring your luggage nobly on your back. For my part, if a lie may do thee grace, I'll gild it with the happiest terms I have.
Ever did rebellion find rebuke? Ill-spirited Worcester, did we not send grace and pardon and offers of love to all of you? And will you now turn our offers contrary, misuse the tenor of thy kinsman's trust? Many a creature had been alive this hour, if thou hadst betwixt our armies born true intelligence.
What I have done, my safety urged me to, and I embrace this fortune patiently, since not to be avoided, it falls on me.
Bear Worcester to the death. Other offenders we will pause upon. Rebellion in this land shall lose its sway till meeting the check of such another day.
I'll follow, as they say, for reward. He that rewards me, God reward him. For if I grow great, I shall grow less. I shall leave sack, and purge, and live nobly, as a good nobleman should do.
Where shall we take a purse tomorrow, Jack?
Aye, where thou wilt, lad.
Oh.